Tuscany, 225 BC. The Roman Republic is hungry for expansion, aggressively pushing north from Rome. Standing in its way are the Gaelic barbarian tribes of northern Italy. Now 60,000 ferocious warriors must repel the might of two Roman armies to save their homeland and send a violent message back to Rome. Leading the Gauls are a team of aviation journalists comprising 2 lieutenants.
All my boys are fighting. All my boys.
Commanded by 2 generals.
We're okay because we're on top of a hill.
They must skillfully vanquish the Romans and impress 2 military experts.
You're gonna die. Just attack somebody.
Will the Gauls end their days on a lonely hill in Tuscany? Or will barbarian Europe be victorious? This is Time Commanders. With Eddie Mayer inside the command center are a team of journalists from Pilot magazine. Nick Bloom, 53, deputy editor, rank general. Dave Calderwood, 50, editor-in-chief, rank general. Trix Triani, 32, art editor, rank lieutenant. Dave Foster, 25, advertising manager, rank lieutenant.
Now, the magazine you all work for, I think it's Pilot magazine. What do you all do on it? Nick, are you in charge? Dave, is it you?
I'm editor-in-chief, and Nick is deputy editor.
What can we read in Pilot magazine? Do we have to be pilots to understand it?
Most of our readers are pilots, but quite a few of them are just aviation enthusiasts.
Trix, what's your role on this?
I'm art editor.
Right.
Yes.
Do you fly as well?
No, actually quite scared of flying.
And the more you work on Pilot magazine, the more
The more
determined you are
makes me
never to
decide
fly.
not to, yeah.
OK, fair enough. Nick, as well as being an experienced aerobatic pilot, you used to be in a one-man band before you split up, I presume. But tell me about your George Formby tribute act.
Local authorities like to keep the elderly people in their care entertained. And if you sing Mr. Wu, and you get to the rhyme about ladies' blouses rhyming with something or other, there's always one old lady who shouts knickers.
OK. Nick, I won't be talking to you again, it's all right. Dave, you're the advertising manager, and I understand you can sell anything to anyone.
Nice compliment, but yeah, I can...
Coals to the people of Newcastle?
I've tried, yeah.
Sand to the people of Saudi Arabia?
Working on that one.
Well, look, you're all very welcome to the programme, and you probably want to know now which battle you're going to be involved in. Well, you're fighting a very important battle, the Gauls against the Romans, the Battle of Telamon. It's 225 BC. Our experts down here, Eric and Mark, have been putting the finishing touches to it all, checking it all for historical authenticity. Come up here, gentlemen.
Dr. Eric Nussbacher, senior lecturer in war studies, Sandhurst. Mark Urban, military historian and author.
You guys are going to be Gauls from northern Italy who are not defending their farms and their homes against the Romans. No, you guys have come down into Roman territory in search of some loot.
This army of rampaging Gauls is led by King Anaruestes.
You've already given a kicking to a second-rate Roman army, and you're about to come up against the Roman first team.
2 legions commanded by Consul Regulus have sailed all the way from Sardinia. Now they're marching south to crush the Gauls at Telamon.
It's a great trial for you as Gauls. So be bold, be strong. You burnish your reputation through heroism in battle. Remember, there's a Roman army, but there may be another Roman army somewhere.
Consul Aemilius Pappus has marched his legions north from Rome. They're in heavy pursuit of the Gauls and may surprise them.
You've got to act decisively, do what commanders call defeating in detail. Go for one before you have to deal with the other.
But before they can tackle the Romans, the team must learn as much as possible about the battle ahead. First, they get to look at the terrain. The Gallic troops have assembled in open farmland, sheltered by a large hill to the north. This hill dominates the battlefield, which is bordered on one side by a river. Consul Regulus and his legions from Sardinia have assembled north of the hill, facing the Gauls. But newly arrived on the south side of the battlefield, hidden by trees behind Gallic lines, are the troops of Consul Aemilius, fresh from Rome. Unaware of this threat, the Gauls stand just in front of a luxurious Roman villa.
What's this structure?
Could be a chemical weapons factory.
The river's going to form one edge of the battlefield, isn't it?
Yes.
So the hill appears to be the crucial meeting point.
The key terrain on this battlefield is that rise in the center. There's a hill that dominates that piece of ground, but the team must not make a fetish of that hill. It's a big feature, it's in the middle of the map. It's important, but it's not the only thing on that battlefield.
Often riding down a steep slope is more difficult on a horse than riding up one. It doesn't always give a tactical advantage to be on top of the hill.
Nick the pilot's navigational skills leave a little to be desired.
I can't relate any of this to what I'm seeing on the ground.
We're now around here.
We're going all the way around.
Fortunately, the rest of the team have a better understanding of geography.
We've got our bearings at last.
Yes.
Do you ever get lost when you're flying?
Yes, all the time. I have no sense of direction.
After a shaky start, Nick and his team must now get to grips with the troops they'll command in battle. The team's army comprises 60,000 Gallic tribesmen, drawn from across northern Italy and southern France. Trix and Dave now command fearsome warriors, deadly mercenary Gaisati, and skilled cavalry troops. But there are other things on General Nick's mind.
Can we do anything with this picture?
Like what?
Like give it more definition by zooming out?
Look.
You can't. No.
They may take this kind of demand in the old folks' home when you're doing the George Formby stuff, but I'm afraid you have to work with the tools you're given.
Okay. Our lieutenants seem to be completely absorbed in being briefed at the moment.
I'm no military expert, and you shouldn't take military advice from a man in a pink shirt, but seriously, if at this early stage, when you're getting your intelligence gathered, you've lost control of your lieutenants, you're screwed.
All still infantry, isn't it? More infantry, more infantry.
Yeah.
All right, some cavalry here.
So cavalry is this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
In previous encounters, the Gallic cavalry have proved themselves against the Romans.
The Gaulish cavalry are good. They've got quite a few of them, and they're very skilled horsemen. They've got a type of saddle that was copied by the Romans because it allowed for more aggressive military riding. Now, they need to use them to neutralize Roman cavalry and to threaten the Roman flanks. That's the best way to use those forces. If it comes to a frontal fight with the infantry, they've got to hope to intimidate them with these big, naked warriors, the Gaisati.
The Gaisati are the ones with the white hair, lime wash.
These are wild hillmen, big barbarian guys, and they go into battle butt naked, and all they've got on is a big golden torque around their necks and maybe some big armlets on their upper arms. They're going out there, they're saying, hey, look at me, look at my big barbarian penis, I'm here to kill you. We've put some trousers on them so as not to create the shock effect on people at home, but they were going for this shock effect on the Romans. Look at my genitals, I am a barbarian, I'm here to kill you. This is meant to intimidate the Romans.
The fearsome Gaisati are controlled by Trix, leaving Dave Foster in charge of the rest of the Gallic infantry.
Okay, so give us a rundown on the infantry down
You've
here.
got some skirmishers, who basically are guys with spears. Then you've got 3 units of Gallic swordsmen, and that's sort of like the Lennox Lewis of the team. Quite hard.
Another interesting thing about the Gauls here is they've got this tradition of heroic declaiming before they go into battle. They stand there, they say, I'm the greatest warrior ever, and often then they come forward to challenge their opponents to individual combat. Now that was sometimes a threat to the cohesion of their enemy.
Be quite good at disturbing the other troops when I'm trying to draw them out as well, I guess, wouldn't they? Sort of.
I'm getting a sense your plan is beginning to come together, but there's obviously one vital piece of information you need. You need to find out about your enemy.
That's right.
Now the team have got to know their own troops, it's time for Dave to check out their opposition. He sends his scouts deep into enemy territory to spy on Regulus's army from Sardinia. But this is Dave's only chance to uncover both Roman armies. Not just the one he can see on the open plain, but also the units to the south, led by Consul Aemilius, concealed behind Gallic lines.
If you go around sort of to the side, I guess.
For his team to have any chance of success, Dave must use his time well.
The Roman soldiers here are not professional soldiers. They are ordinary Roman citizens fighting to protect their homes and hearths.
Well, they bring the gusto of citizen soldiers who don't want their homes pillaged and their wives raped.
That's right.
And all the rest of it, because they're fighting pretty close to their homeland areas around Rome.
Basically, the front of the Romans have got 3 bands of what's called velites, which is similar to our skirmishers.
Yeah.
You've got 3 bands of hastati behind them in the gaps.
Pastati.
Hastati.
The hastati are the youngest, fittest, most aggressive soldiers. And it's going to be their job to conduct that quick rush leading to contact. Behind the hastati are the principes. The principes are a little bit older, they're perhaps more experienced, perhaps steadier men, and they're the ones who are going to back up that quick rush of the hastati with their own meaty thump into the enemy. And then behind the principes are the older men, the triarii, and they've got spears, and they're able to hunker down behind those spears if they need to, and provide a firm backing to the first 2 ranks of the Roman army.
Is there any cavalry there?
Yeah, on the right and left flanks,
Yeah.
either side, you've got some light cavalry.
One of the things that they want to do is strip the legionary cavalry away from the flanks of those legions and take advantage of the Roman flanks.
So it's 2 triarii infantry.
Yeah, right
In front of them, 3 princeps. In front of them, 3 pastati, flanked by 2 cavalry, and 3 velates in the very front.
And a large coke, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
I think he's giving a really quite good and comprehensive report about the Roman forces. And even if he uses basic terminology, like some of them have long spears and some of them have big shields, that's probably pretty much the language that a Gaulish scout would have used at the time.
Is that the entire Roman force?
Wishful thinking, Dave. Just a stone's throw to the rear of his army, hiding in some trees to the south, are the legions of Consul Aemilius. This army is ready for battle, but do they know about their comrades to the north? And will the team spot this additional threat in time?
To my mind, the key issue here is whether they grasp this point, that they've got to smack the Romans they find first hard in order to stop themselves being taken from the flanks or the rear by any other Romans who are out there.
What should your battle plan be?
I reckon draw them up to us if you can.
We need to get on that hill. That's one thing, because it's the high ground. Whoever gets the high ground is likely to win the battle.
But what if we just stay where we are and let them come to us? And let them go over the hill, get knackered coming over the hill, come down and meet us, engage about here?
Well, the thing is,
make no difference,
we'll be
yeah.
fighting uphill at that point, and that's...
The hill in itself is meaningless. They've got to be willing to engage the Roman forces, whether they're on the hill, behind the hill, or coming down the hill, and really tackle them aggressively.
We've got to move forward to get on the hill.
Yeah.
Why do you have to go on the hill?
Because battles are always won from the tops of hills.
Yeah, having the high ground is not just a saying, it's a battle necessity.
You go to the top of the hill with the whole of your Gaulish army, you actually become more visible to those other Roman troops for miles around. They'll have a better idea where to head to.
I've got an idea for a strategy, which is that we move our solid infantry as rapidly as possible up towards the hill.
Yep, I agree.
And in the meantime, the Romans will be trying to do something very similar.
Nick thinks he can tell the future. Nick also...
He's read it in some entrails.
That's right, which is not entirely unreasonable. On one hand, he doesn't know what's going to happen, but on the other hand, he's got to expect things to happen that he doesn't expect.
And then we've got to break up their formation using our shock troops, whichever they are.
My concern, Nick, is the
And then
fact
the
that
cavalry.
if we get on the hill here,
Yeah.
they've got their cavalry position on the left and the right, and they can quite easily come around the side here and attack our infantry from the right hand and left hand sides.
We have to hold them with our cavalry, and our cavalry is stronger than their cavalry.
Key to this battle is initiative. And you've got the older, potentially more conservative members of the team as the generals, and the younger, potentially more impetuous part of the team in the subordinate positions.
So you're really saying if you were a Gaulish chieftain of 53, like Nick is, you'd be at the stage when you'd be wheeled onto the hillside in your bath chair and left to die in the cold because you'd have ceased to have the right stuff.
No, I think that because he's a middle-aged English guy, he's not going to have quite the elan that the Gaulish chieftain drinking in his mead hall would have come this battle.
I'm not going to give you much longer, so if you can show me with the blocks how you're going to execute this plan.
The team's concept of operations is completely divorced from the battlefield reality. They need to fight the Romans, but they're not planning to attack the Romans. The Roman commander can just sit there all day and wait for another Roman army to come and help him kill all the Gauls.
We've got to get these troops marching first. This is the first thing.
Yeah.
We've got to get them moving before we do anything else. Right up there on the hill, they've got to be.
The team is planning for a miserable, bloody failure.
At the same time as we're doing that, we've got to be advancing in formation the cavalry, because the Roman cavalry will try and stop us doing that, and they're much faster than our foot soldiers, and these have got to be behind.
Yeah, that's it. That's
All
our,
right.
That's our strategy.
Actually, see, when I hear you talking like that, I can't imagine you with a banjo. That was very impressive. You all seem quite confident about this.
Yeah, I think the clue was that our boys have no fear. We need to get up that hill as fast as possible. No fear. They have no fear whatsoever.
stuck in.
Bosh,
Yeah.
bosh, they're gone.
So something
Home by tea time. That's the plan. 225 BC, the Battle of Telamon. You're the Gauls against the Romans. It's time to deploy your troops.
A team of journalists from Pilot magazine command the army of King Aneroestes, a horde of barbarians from northern Italy. They plan to slaughter the Romans at Telamon, avenge their honor, and crush the Roman Republic on its very doorstep. The lives of 100,000 men hinge on a very simple plan. In the spirit of the Grand Old Duke of York, the team will march all of their troops up the hill, hoping to lure the army of Consul Regulus into a fight. But have they spotted that Aemilius, another consul, and his army to the south now threaten to attack the Gauls from behind? The team's plan depends on Regulus taking their bait before any reinforcements can assist. So, will General Nick's hilltop stronghold bring him triumph or disaster?
Once we get to the top of the hill, we want to keep it and be there when the second lot of Romans arrive.
So you're confident that there will be a second lot?
We have to be prepared.
Eager to get stuck in, the young lieutenants send their warriors charging up the hill.
Are you running, by the way? You could have told me, we haven't leisurely walk.
I thought we had to leg it up there. Don't forget, they have no fear, yeah? You're in there. We're ready.
The Romans aren't moving at all.
Getting up that hill at a fair lick, aren't you?
I like Trix's attitude. She's very aggressive. She wants to get stuck in. She says, get in there. That is the right Gaulish military attitude.
Nick, I ain't wasting no time here. I'm getting at the top of the hill.
Would you like some extra help?
Yes.
All right, have a look at this. It's a real-time satellite view of the battlefield.
Right, we've got one lot of cavalry that are way behind the picture.
Yeah, get those guys up here if you can.
They've put themselves up on top of the hill and they think that they can beat the Romans by standing on a hill, and they can't. Somewhere out there is another Roman army, and once that Roman army joins the one that the team is already looking at, it will all be over. The team has got to attack the Romans and attack them now.
And the Romans are already on the move. Regulus has unexpectedly sent his cavalry in the direction of the hill, and the team are caught off guard.
I think they're just trying to tempt us out.
With the northern Romans appearing to take the team's bait, can Nick and Dave agree on the next step?
I think we should go and attack. We should go after those cavalry.
Are you deployed? Are you in the position you want to be yet?
No, we're still moving the
All right,
cavalry.
well, that should be your priority.
Yes. Dave, on your side, the cavalry are way behind. What's happening?
They stopped for a fag.
But there's no stopping the Roman cavalry. With every second that the team deliberate, the horsemen of Consul Regulus are closing on their flank. The lieutenants will have to act fast and soon.
They're moving round.
Okay, Dave, I don't want our cavalry to attack their cavalry. I think
They're
we're
moving, they're still moving.
All right, chill.
There's some others on the move. Some infantry's on the move there.
Sticking rigidly to their plan, the team wait on the hill. and Regulus sends a second cavalry unit in support of the first. Time's running out.
Dave?
Yeah?
Get your cavalry guys moving quickly. We need to get some cavalry in there to fight their cavalry.
You want us to take them on?
We want to attack the cavalry.
Do you? I thought you wanted to stay
Stand by, they're attacking.
No, we want to get in there.
Get stuck in.
do something.
Get in there.
The first engagement of the new Battle of Telamon is about to begin.
Attack! Attack! Go on!
That's it, they're attacking. Right.
Kick ass.
Okay, there's another gap opening in our troop disposition. Close it, please.
There's some troops, more cavalry coming here. Move forward with the other cavalry.
Yeah, we're going to have our troops divided
That's
if we
it.
don't close the gap.
The second unit of Roman horse arrives, but Aneroestes and his Gauls are ready and waiting.
We have a battle going on here.
Well done.
Two sets of cavalry.
I'm hoping that we'll win it.
So the Romans have sent some cavalry up the hill just to harass the Gaulish army, and the team is going for it. The team thinks that the battle is starting, and now the team is going to focus on this little group of Roman cavalry, not important to the Romans.
Finish them off, then regroup on the right-hand flank.
That's it.
That's it.
You pleased with that?
Who are these fellas here then?
God, this is
Dave,
just
you need to
Isn't it just, yes?
The Gauls have made a terrific start, demolishing 2 units of Roman cavalry. But have the team fallen for a clever trick? Has the Roman consul Regulus provided just the smokescreen that his comrade Aemilius needs?
The generals have been tempted to focus their attention on a tiny, meaningless corner of the battlefield when another Roman army is creeping up behind them. That's the Roman army that the team thinks is going to attack them. They're not moving. There's the team. But way back there, you can almost see them coming through the trees, is another Roman army. And that Roman army is going to sandwich the team and destroy them. The team has got that much time to attack the army they can see, otherwise they're definitely going to lose.
Now concealed in the forest, Aemilius makes his move, leading his troops from Rome north towards the hill. But still waiting for Regulus to fall into their trap, the generals have no idea about the new threat to their rear.
We're in no hurry. We've got the best ground. We can wait.
How are you going to tempt them up? Free flights?
Any movement?
Hang on a
They're quite
second.
long way away.
We've got some more horses and Romans coming from the top right-hand side, I think. Or no, top left-hand side.
Oh, now the team have noticed that they're between 2 Roman armies.
Whereabouts
No,
are
the Stone are moving.
They're behind us.
They're behind us.
No, they're ours.
Dave Foster is trying to convince the generals that there is another army there.
The army of Consul Aemilius is finally on its way. They're heading for the hill, where they can unite with their comrades. The team must get their act together fast.
You see him?
Can you see?
No, they're
Oh,
out.
God, yes.
Bloody hell.
Right,
They're running up the hill.
The
We need
right,
to-
no, we're okay because we're on top of the hill.
Did you hear that?
Yes,
it's
I did.
okay. We're
I
on
did.
top
It's
of a hill.
extraordinary.
They're going to die on top of a hill. That's wonderful.
I know. It's a very strange mentality.
Dave,
Yeah?
can you swing your cavalry around
Yeah.
to face the
Yeah, so if you can
bunch
just
coming up from this side, from the
That's
south?
it. Stand the flanks.
So you got this surprise, you knew they were going to be somewhere, and they're coming at you from behind. How are you going to deal with this battle on 2 fronts?
Well, we're going to attack once they get a bit closer.
Do you think
Try
we
and
should-
defeat them.
I think
We've got to let them get closer so we can wipe out one side before the other one
And in the
reacts.
meantime, do you think we
They've already pretty much destroyed the Roman cavalry, so they've got some advantage over those Romans to the front of them, if only they would now grasp it and go for it.
They need to move forward and attack a Roman army. They need to do it now. Otherwise, we might as well go home early.
Dave,
Yeah?
we want you to turn your men around to face the new army coming up from the southeast,
Okay.
southwest.
Yeah.
Trix, you're going to be concentrating on the troops that are down the hill ahead of you.
Dave Calderwood's plan is he's going to divide his army up into 2 bits, slap them back to back, as the meat inside a Roman sandwich and try to fight a defensive battle. He's just going to be lunch.
Dave?
Yeah?
I've got 2 sets of horses which are doing nothing. Do you want me to bring them round to counteract the other Romans coming on horseback? So if you look at my hands,
Yeah?
on that side there where we had the battle, I've got 2 sets of horseback guys up here.
Yes, bring them round, yeah.
The
I don't know what he's talking about. Would you just fill me in?
I just think it's just a couple of spare units running around. So.
Yeah, if that lot of Romans know about this lot, we could be in more trouble.
Let them come up. They'll be knackered by the time they get
Yeah,
there.
exactly. I think wait till we see the whites of their eyes.
Are you going to wait for them, or are you going to attack them?
I think we wait for them for the moment. Let them come on a bit
they're
further.
going to be knackered.
They were lined up in a pretty good formation on the top of the hill for advancing down towards the people in front of them. The time it's taking to put this elbow bend in their army to have the rear-facing line is just helping the Roman legions to their rear to cover the ground.
Dave, Nick, do you want us all to turn around, or do you want half to turn around and half to stay facing forward?
That's
Just
what we're
Dave.
coming to, that decision, that is that we should divide our force in 2.
Divide and fall. Remember what you said?
They seem to have this bizarre fixation on achieving some kind of geometric formation with their rampaging barbarians. The Roman game might be geometric formations, but if these Gaulish barbarians try to pretend to be Romans, they're all going to die.
With Aemilius marching ever closer to their precious hill, the team's initial target, Regulus and his legions, now start to move as well. 46,000 disciplined Roman troops threaten to surround the Gaulish tribes. The team must respond decisively and fast.
Trix, I think those are the Romans are moving at the back there, are they?
Where?
The original bunch.
They're moving. I think we'll wait for
Okay, guys, the original bunch of
Yeah, the
Romans are now
original
starting
bunch.
to head
Shall we
towards the
just stay
same
where we
flank. They're all on
I'm
foot,
not
these
clear.
guys, aren't they?
You're going to sit and wait for them rather than go and attack them, is that right?
Well, because we hold the hill, and there's a massive advantage in holding the hill.
Every time Eddie asks them what they're going to do, they say, it doesn't matter, we hold the hill. It's not a magic hill.
We've decided to hold the hill. We'll stick to that decision. We now need the troops to be in the right formation to defend 2 fronts.
Trix, your
Yeah.
cavalry need to move to the left.
I don't have cavalry. Dave has the cavalry.
These are the last seconds of life that this team has got. Their army is about to be slaughtered, and they're fine-tuning exactly where in their formation their horses are going to be. We're unnecessarily spread out on the right. We need to pull in our right flank. You're going to die. Just attack somebody.
But it could already be too late. Seizing the initiative, Aemilius in the south sends his lightly armed velites up the hill. It doesn't take them long to get within firing range. A sudden javelin attack from the rear takes the Gallic army by surprise, with deadly effect. Lieutenant Dave is desperate to retaliate.
Hang on. They're throwing spears at us. Do you want us to go and take them out with the horses?
No, stay where you are.
But they're throwing spears and hitting us.
Which
we
one's...
need to engage.
You're being attacked. Are you just going to sit back?
Charge, Dave.
Charge.
Charge.
Which
them.
one's
No,
not?
don't charge yet. Wait a minute. Wait, let them get
Guys,
closer.
Which ones do you
Let's
want me to
go.
move?
Come on, let's get them.
Which ones do you
Get
want me
stuck
to
in.
move?
It's really impressive watching the speed of the velites, the Roman light infantry going in, and seeing how quickly they're changing the battlefield situation.
Dave, attack with your cavalry.
They have allowed their cavalry to become pinned down. See, look at that.
And they've already taken heavy losses in the cavalry there.
Look, you're being attacked.
No, I think we wait till the last
No.
minute to defend.
This is the last minute.
All right, attack.
That's it. Get stuck in, lads.
At last, Dave can send his surviving cavalry into the Romans. And he orders his heavy cavalry to attack the well-armed Roman hastati sent in by Aemilius.
Keep it attacking, Dave, that's it.
Yeah, no worries.
And remember, Trix, if you feel you're getting no instruction and you know what to
I'm
do,
gonna
just do it.
Yeah.
I suggest we disengage the cavalry now.
No, we're in the battle. We've got to beat them. We've got to win this.
Yeah, all right.
Given the chance to fight back, the team's cavalry defend themselves well. But it still doesn't satisfy General Nick.
We're breaking up and moving too far away from the hill. That's the problem. I think we should have stayed where we were and let them come to us.
We need to get our Hastati into the front line of the infantry, and we're going to attack this bunch here that's coming up from the south, the new bunch.
So you see that sandwich here. We've got one Roman army here, one Roman army here, That's the team's army drawn up in beautiful order in the middle. I mean, it won't be necessary to mark out graves for them. You'll be able to bury them in lines.
Determined to stay on the hill, the team have squandered their initial success and face envelopment by 2 Roman armies. While their generals dither, Trix and Dave are desperate to launch an attack. They know their warriors are best used in a heavy charge, but they're running out of time to make a difference to the battle.
We need to start attacking.
Trix says we've got to attack. We've got to attack. She says it over and over again. And what's the response from the generals? Keep it nice and tight.
But it's too late to attack, and now the team have been trapped into defending their precious hill against both Roman armies. Aemilius sends his heavy infantry up the southern slope. And at last, Trix's Gaisati can do their job. They get stuck in. But with the confines of the hill working against them, there's a limit to how effective these warriors can be.
They're in almost a circular formation. They're a great big donut. Now, if they had muskets, if they had longbows, if they had any sort of strong missile weapon, then being in that round formation might allow them to take the initiative.
See, what you've now got, guys, Dave, Nick, you've got like a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone just staying tight and fighting outwards.
I think, though, if you look across centuries of warfare, the idea of forming a square or a circle back to back and fighting off troops that outnumber you is one that it's employed by the civilized troops against the barbarians. Here we see the barbarians attempting to do it against highly organised legions who are now hemming them in on every side.
You're right.
And will slaughter them.
How do you think it's going?
Could go either way, I think.
Are you getting an idea of the overall picture? Do you know what to do from your generals?
Not really. They're being a little bit fighting a battle between themselves, really.
All right. Dave needs more and clearer instruction. I feel lost.
Okay,
Betrayed,
Trix,
bewildered.
you've got some troops on
Useless.
top of the hill. Turn them around, come down the hill and engage
North or south?
south.
Trix, you seem to be doing pretty much all of this on your own, is that right?
Yes.
Well, get on with it.
Yeah.
With wave upon wave of Roman infantry sweeping in under the orders of Aemilius, Trix has her hands full. The Gauls still outnumber the Romans, but unlike their enemy, they've got no freedom to maneuver.
They're running out of options.
All right, generals, your lieutenants are complaining they're not getting clear enough information. They're pretty much acting on their own sometimes.
They're doing a pretty good job. I think all we can do is engage our remaining troops on as many fronts as possible. I mean, the thing is, if we advance on those now, we'll be slaughtered from behind.
This is what the team's soldiers can see. Look what's coming up the hill. It is an entire intact Roman consular army. 2 legions of Roman heavy foot are coming up the hill.
Regulus seizes his moment. 2 units of Hastati now smash their way into the waiting Gauls on the left. The envelopment of the army of Anaroestes is complete.
Should we withdraw and consolidate on the crown of the hill?
We're not going to get a chance to withdraw. They're going to come after us.
At last, the Gallic generals have realized there is no safety on the hill. The Romans can't believe their good fortune as the team's precious formation starts to collapse.
How do you think it's going?
Terribly.
If this was a plane, it would have what?
Well, I think we've had an engine out, but there's a chance, a small chance of bringing off a forced landing.
Mine are
Yes.
gone, mine are dying.
Dear. What's that?
Yeah, that's it.
You don't think it's oxygen masks dropping?
Why are these rifles
Lights
running
along
away?
the aisle?
They're tired. They're running away.
Thank you for flying with us.
Those troops who aren't engaged in fighting for their lives now begin to flee the battlefield.
Can you get them back up the hill?
But Nick's being overly optimistic.
Turn those troops around and engage.
No, they're broken. They're legging it.
Okay.
They've had it.
I think this debate now that's going on between the 2 generals and their lieutenants about moving particular units is effectively a debate about where those people are going to die.
You're fighting the Battle of Telamon. You are the Gauls. Doesn't appear to be going well. Maybe this can be saved. You are so quiet for generals.
It doesn't seem to be very much that we can do at this moment.
It's become that academic now that the real sort of meat grinder of the Roman legion is at work in the close quarter fight on all sides of them.
Turn around and turn around. You need to turn those forces around on the bottom left corner.
What I can say is the slaughter would be terrible.
There's certainly going to be plenty of material here for the Roman epic poets by the time this is finished, of rivers of blood coming down the hillside and of the thousands slaughtered by the consular legions.
Having broken the team's formation, Emilius orders a unit of cavalry to finish off the remaining Gauls.
This is a very bloody battle.
I think we're on the ropes, guys.
They're not just on the ropes, they're out for the count and begging for mercy. Their battle all but lost, the generals have no ideas left.
Do we have a strategy, or are we just watching the massacre happen?
Just engage whenever you can. Make sure that all our troops are engaged.
Mine are legging it.
With their brave warriors fleeing across the hill, it seems to be all over for Anaroestes and the Gauls.
Oh, it's looking messy, isn't it? That's looking bad.
Right, we are running down the hill.
Yeah, they're just broken.
Yes, it is.
It's looking so bad. I can't imagine it looking any worse than that.
Defeat imminent.
Oh, that's worse.
Defeat imminent.
Yes, defeat imminent. I don't see anything else we can do. Live to fight another day, chaps.
Well, some of you might. All right, Trix and Dave, you want to come back up?
You are defeated.
Where do you think it went wrong?
They came around the back door, didn't they? They just sneaked in.
I knew that was going to happen.
Did you?
I
You never
did know.
mentioned it.
Well, I was fighting. I was doing what I thought my boys did best, and that was get in there and get rid as soon as possible.
We assumed that the reinforcements would be coming from the north side of the picture. It was the kind of stupid assumption that a layman not used to fighting battles would make, I think. Well, obviously it was the wrong strategy to hold the top of the hill because it failed, but I still don't think it was necessarily a stupid strategy.
Dave?
We should have just gone after the original army and really just hit them as hard as we could and then get into the best position for the second one.
Dave, what do you reckon?
I think we should just stay put and just let them come to us.
But you went along with the plans, though. I know you suggested that early on, but you went along with...
We've only got 3 stars, mate. When we get to 5 stars, we'll be able to make those sort of decisions. But
knows his place. Now let's see what the experts thought of how you did. Eric and Mark, if you come down and give us the benefit of your many years studying this particular battle. So, what did you reckon, gentlemen?
Initially, when you were formulating the plan, there were some very good ideas expressed. You seemed to work very well as a team together. Unfortunately, you all got behind the wrong plan, which was this obsession with the hill. Secure the hill, you said at one point as you were formulating the plan. And the hill in itself is meaningless. Once you got there, and they just stood still in front of you, except for that little cavalry demonstration, you should have thought, something is amiss here. This is playing into their hands because with each second that the clock ticked at that moment, the other Romans were getting closer and closer to you, and then the scales of the battle were going to tip against you.
And instead of getting stuck in to the Romans, and Trix was begging you to get stuck into the Romans, Nick displays a sick obsession with their formation on the field. Your soldiers were being mustered into tidy little rows, which the Romans, by the way, loved when they finally came up and killed you because they didn't have to go looking for you. So Nick's obsession with having a tidy formation becomes the cross that your guys are all crucified on. And when you see the enemy coming, what does Nick have you do? Nick has you create a new artistic masterpiece of formation on top of the hill, rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. And we had lions led by donkeys. Trix is begging, let me kill someone. Let me kill something. Get in. That's right. Trix had the right idea. And you were held back by Nick and Dave, who allowed their fetish with that hill to dominate your tactics.
We're on the hill. We're sitting pretty. We heard it a couple of times.
Over and over again. Don't worry about the enemy. We've got the hill.
So how did the actual battle go?
Good point. Let's have a look.
Okay, so the Gaulish army is here, somewhere in the plain, wagons groaning with booty. They've pillaged the Romans and they're feeling pretty good about life. Possibly they've seen the Roman farm over there top up a bit more booty on the way home. Then something occurs to them. Could the Romans be to their front? And what they do is they send their cavalry up to your famous hill to have a look and to see whether they should take that ground.
And here is Regulus's Roman army, and he himself leads his own Roman cavalry up onto the hill and fights a very stiff action against the Gaulish cavalry.
But actually the Gaulish cavalry are better, and they whip the posteriors of those Romans. And poor old Regulus has his head chopped off and brought back to the Gaulish chieftain with some helpful serving suggestions by the guys who've done it. So in the meantime, the Gaulish army continues moving forward in this sort of direction.
And then from behind them comes another Roman army. The Gauls are now sandwiched between two full-size Roman consular armies.
At that point, they do form a battle line facing to the rear. So they're facing in two directions at once. And they do what people working on Pilot magazine would do in later recreations of the battle. They stand still and they try and face both ways at once, which is not a good idea.
Coming out from this side of the Gauls' army are those big, naked men with spears, and they're shaking their genitals at the Romans. They're daring them to come on. This always works against other Gauls, intimidate them. And the Roman light troops, the velites, come up to these naked men, stand a little ways away, take their javelins, big Gallic man, big target, and start chucking javelins into them. Well, this is the first time anybody's actually stood up to these big, hard men from the Alps. And they turn around and they head back through their own people. They disrupt their own formation, heading back through them. And all of the other Gauls, the big, hard men from northern Italy, see the biggest, hardest mercenaries legging it right through their own army.
Yeah, they don't look quite so hard with a javelin through them. And at that point...
Who would?
At that point, of course, they are well and truly in the sandwich. The panicking Gaisati have unsettled the army, and the Romans can come in for the kill.
Now, these Roman armies come in waves, wave after wave of Roman soldiers, and as one wave gets tired from killing and gets worn down, then the next wave comes in and starts killing, and the next wave in a brutal, inexorable bloodbath that leaves the poor deluded Gauls cut to ribbons.
Gaulish commander leaves the scene and does what he knows, according to his custom, he must do, and commits suicide.
So it's been nice knowing you, Nick.
Would it have been possible for our team to win? Could the Gauls have won at all?
If they'd concentrated their combat power against one Roman army and defeated it, and then turned and faced the other Roman army, they'd have had a chance.
All right. Well, look, thank you very much, Mark and Eric. Nice try.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Team from Pilot magazine. You did a decent job. Unfortunately, you did lose the battle, but you also lost the war. So there you are. Listen, well done.
Thank you.
The Romans pummeled the Gauls at the real Battle of Telamon, crushing tribal opposition and pushing further into northern Italy. Within 2 years, the Roman frontier stretched all the way to the Alps. The victory at Telamon marked a turning point in the Roman domination of Italy, paving the way for their overseas empire of the future.
Downhill mountain biking is what awaits next tonight on Documentary in Radical Highs.